like to introduce a I'm beyond excited actually, a very special guest, a bronze medalist for 2016, current national team keeper. You play for Carolina Courage. Awesome goalkeeper. Very excited. So what I like to do is introduce all you ladies to Stephanie Labbé. So thank you very much for being here, and it's an honor to have you talk to our girls team. So thank you very much.
Of course, thank you. So nice to meet you guys. I'm really happy to be able to do this in this challenging and unpredictable time. I think it's really special and unique to have this opportunity to connect with teams from all across Canada and see faces that I might not otherwise have been able to meet. So as exciting as it is for you, it's very exciting for me as well. Did you guys all get the email with a little bit of like an information document? Yeah? That I sent out? Okay, perfect. So you guys should all have a pen and paper with you. And on there, I had a little bit of a homework question. So this is my way of getting to know you guys a little bit. So I will call on you each based on the name that is written on the screen here. So it might not be your name, it might be your mom or dad's name, but I'll call on you, and I would just like you to introduce yourself if your name is different than the one that I call, and say your one thing or one person that you are grateful for. So we're gonna start with Madison.
Hi, I'm Madison, and I'm really grateful for my parents and my sister.
Nice. Next is Larissa.
Hi. Oh my God. I'm Larissa, and I'm really grateful for like my family and everything, and like supporting me and playing soccer and everything.
Nice. Next is Kira.
Hi, I'm Kira, and I'm thankful for my family for supporting me through everything I do and believing in me.
Awesome. Next, Becca.
Hi, I'm Becca, and I'm grateful for my family because they've supported me my whole life.
Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm grateful for my friends and family and their love and support.
Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm thankful for my family and all the girls at AI.
Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm grateful for my family, but especially my dad for always supporting me and coming to every game.
Ella.
I'm Ella, and I'm grateful for everyone who's being so positive around this hard time.
Chandra.
Hi, I'm Chandra, and I'm thankful for everyone that supports me.
Nice. Sasha.
I'm grateful for my dad and my friends and my sisters for supporting me through soccer.
Nice. Megan. Oh, can't quite hear ya. Okay, Megan, we can't hear you, so I'm going to move on, but I'd like you to quickly write down who you're, oh, yeah, your mic's not working. Can you type it in the chat? Can you type down your, what you're grateful for? Grateful for my friends and family. Nice. Siobhan?
Hi, I'm Siobhan, and I'm grateful for my family and the girls at AI.
Nice. I'm assuming your name's not Peter, but I'm gonna say Peter's daughter, maybe.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Taylor, and I'm grateful for my parents and sisters.
Nice. Asta?
Hi, I'm Asta, and I'm thankful for my family.
Nice. And then we're going to go to Barbara, who's sneaky with no camera on.
Hi, I'm Barbara. I'm grateful for my family, for my kids, and all the amazing boys and girls I have the honor of managing.
Nice. And lastly, we're going to do Christos.
Well, my name is Christos, and I'm very grateful for my family, and grateful for having a passion in soccer and getting the ability to coach grassroots and athletes and trying to get them to the next level. So very grateful for that.
Nice. And I'll finish us off. I think, did I get everybody? Am I missing anyone? I think I got everyone. I am grateful for my dog. I'm grateful to be home with my partner. We weren't supposed to have many days together, and I'm grateful for my family and my health as well during this crazy time. So to start off, I'm going to share my screen here. Once I get it up, oh, I gotta just pull it up here. Share my screen so that you guys can kind of follow along with what I'm talking about. There you go. Do you guys see my screen now? Give me a thumbs up. Yep. Okay, awesome. So yeah, today's kind of talk session is going to be pretty interactive. So I'm going to have you guys be writing down at different points and sharing some things. But it's all going to be based around tools and things that I've learned in my career that have helped me be able to cope with challenging situations, stressful situations, high pressure situations, and staying strong and mentally healthy and happy during the tough times. So the first thing we're going to chat about and discuss a little bit is talking about awareness without judgment. So throughout the day, we have so many thoughts and emotions that go through our head, so many things that we think about. A lot of it, they just like thoughts come in and out, whether we are conscious of it or not. And I think the first thing is to become conscious of the thoughts that you have and the emotions that you're feeling. I think throughout the day, things happen and we kind of are aware of it, but we don't put attention into what we're thinking. And I think a big thing with this is we can have a lot of negative thoughts or negative emotions, and the more that we can be aware of it and put attention towards it, then we can start to make choices and do things to help shift those negative thoughts and emotions in a more positive direction. So something that I like to do first thing in the morning, you can also do it throughout the day, but I love to start my day with it, is just taking 1 or 2 minutes to ask myself the 2 questions: what do I feel and what emotions are present? So I think first thing in the morning for me is the best time, because it allows me to start my day with a clear and fresh perspective. And different types of things, like throughout this whole pandemic, I've had different days where I'm feeling and having emotions of different magnitudes completely. You know, the feeling of missing my teammates. I'm supposed to be in North Carolina right now, but I'm in Calgary. So I miss my teammates. I miss playing soccer. I miss my family. I haven't seen my parents or my brother and my niece and nephews. So I miss them. I miss being able to just go to coffee shops and meet up with friends, and different emotions. I felt stressed on different days. I felt sad. I felt tired. Other days I felt super motivated and excited. So just, I think first step is like asking yourself these questions and being aware. So I'd like you guys to take a couple minutes right now and just ask yourself these 2 questions and just jot down a few things that come to mind. So in this moment right now, what do you feel and what emotions are present? And the biggest thing is there's no right or wrong. So everybody's different. Everybody's going through different things. Everybody has different situations at home and in their life right now. So it's all unique and personal to you. So once you've got a couple of those written down, I think the biggest thing is to be aware of these feelings and emotions, but don't judge them. Understand that, you know, some days are good, some days are bad. And I'm going to take you through a few different things that we can start to think about in order to, when you start to recognize that, you know, maybe today is I'm waking up and I'm not feeling so great. My emotions are a little more on the negative side. I'm going to give you a couple of tools to come back to be able to start to shift and be aware of that, and you know, be okay with it. Like, it's okay if you wake up and you're having a day where you don't feel motivated, you don't really want to go out and train today, you don't feel like going for a run, and it's okay to have those days. And I think the important thing is to find the tools and resources that you'll have to be able to find ways to bring joy and happiness back in your life. So with that, the next thing that we're going to talk about is what is most important to you. So once again, asking yourself the questions: what brings joy and happiness to my day? What makes you feel good about yourself? And then what do you want to accomplish every day and every week? We'll leave out every month for right now. So for example, for me, what brings joy and happiness to my day? Definitely playing with my dog, getting outside and getting fresh air, having some alone time. So being able to, whether it's like lay on the couch and read, doing a puzzle is really, makes me really happy. What makes me feel good about myself is exercising, whether it's just going for a run, being in my basement and doing some weights, whether it's doing some yoga, just some light stretching, just any type of activity makes me feel really good about myself. And then something I want to accomplish every day is getting outside. So whether it's just like a 15-minute walk, walking my dog, going to the park to play with my dog, whether it's just going in my backyard and just sitting in the sun and reading a book, but just being able to get outside every day. And then every week, I've started to challenge myself. I've been riding the bike a lot more because at the beginning I wasn't able to go run for a while. So I've been riding the bike a lot. So my challenge to myself is I want to accomplish every week 75 kilometers on the bike. So it's just, I think it's really important to start to look at these questions. So if you guys can take a few minutes and once again, jot down 1 or 2 things for each of the questions. So 1 or 2 things that bring you joy and happiness to your day, 1 or 2 things that make you feel good about yourself, and then something you want to accomplish every day and every week. And then I'm going to ask a couple of you guys to share some of the things that you wrote down. So you can just unmute yourself, whoever wants to speak up. And if you can just say 1 or 2 things that either bring you joy and happiness or make you feel good about yourself. And then 1 thing you want to accomplish every day or every week. So anyone who's done writing, you can feel free to jump in and share what you wrote down.
So something that makes me happy is getting fresh air, getting exercise, and being kind to others.
Nice. And do you have something that you want to accomplish every day or every week?
Every day I want to do an exercise, and I want to get all my schoolwork done this week.
Beauty. Nice. Someone else want to jump in?
Sure. Something that makes me happy is staying in touch with friends and getting outside and doing this the soccer stuff that we have going on. Something I want to do every day is to get outside and like go for a walk with my dog or something. every week I want to get out to Menorah Park, which is like some trails that are really nice, and I like walking them.
Nice. Awesome.
What brings me joy and happiness is getting outside and just being active. What makes me feel good is working out, and like when I finish my homework, it's like satisfying that it's like done. And then what do I want to accomplish every day is do some sort of exercise, and every week I want to make sure that all my homework is done.
Awesome. And I love this from Megan. What makes me happy is uplifting music and going outside. Love that. I didn't think about music. That's an awesome one. I need to add that into my what makes me happy. And what I want to accomplish is submitting all my assignments on time and being proud of them. Awesome. Love that. All right. Does anyone else want to share? Get one more. Don't be shy.
What makes me happy is to talk to my teammates on a daily basis and work out with them. And something I also want to achieve is to keep in good shape while being in quarantine.
Awesome. Nice. It's a bit challenging to do that right now, but it's fun to find different ways to stay fit and stay active. So awesome answers, you guys. It's really fun hearing all of you guys' different things. You give me lots of ideas for things I can add to my list, so that's awesome. I think it's really important to come back to these on those days that are a little more challenging, or maybe you don't feel so great. Come back to these things that you wrote down, like what makes me feel good about myself, and try to implement those things into those days where you maybe don't feel so great about yourself. And the more that we can add these into our days, the more that we'll be leading ourselves in a positive direction for staying happy and healthy. So now that we know what's important to us, now we're going to talk a bit about values. So values are very similar to what's important to us, but values are kind of the underwritten themes of what drive us to make certain decisions, certain actions, the way that we communicate with people. And it kind of is like the people that we surround ourselves with are typically people who share similar values with us. So what I want you to do now is take your piece of paper and write down 6 to 8 of these words that really speak to you, or that jump out at you. When you read it, you really think that is like something that I really value. There might be a word that's not on this list that really speaks to you, and go ahead and write that down too. This list is just to kind of guide your thinking in a certain direction. So yeah, take a read through, and 6 to 8 of them that seem to really jump out and speak to you.
I find I find 2 of them. Well, there's tons of them there, but the making a difference and the motivation for myself is fantastic. Is something that I really follow myself, and just being open-minded, you know, and I love it. You know what I mean? The values is a key thing, I believe, in terms of who you are, right? Who you are. What values are you going to bring to your soccer training, work, everything? So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Nice. Okay, so once you've written down 6 to 8, if you need to finish writing down, go ahead. Now I want you to take the 6 to 8 that you wrote down, and I want you to break them into 3 different categories. So the first category is sports and hobbies. So that could be words like teamwork, cooperation, challenge, accountability, excellence. So it could be those types of things. The second, so that's sports and hobbies. The second one is family and friends. So that could be things like love, loyalty, thoughtfulness, understanding, warmth, health, and then lastly, personal character. So the personal character would be things that you want people to think about you, or that you really value in somebody that's very close to you. So the three categories: sports and hobbies, family, friends, and personal character. And a word might fit under two categories, and that's okay. And it might not fit under any of those three. And if you want to create your own category, that's fine as well. So I think for me now, coming back to this list, you'll start to see if one of those, like sports and hobbies, family, friends, or personal character, if one of them has a lot more words than another, maybe it's pretty even between them. That'll kind of dictate to you what, like, something that you really value in your life. And I think it's really important to come back to these, because these are things that you want to try to implement into your day, and into things that you want to do during the day to make you feel good about yourself as well. So for example, for me, a major value for me is challenge. It means a lot of different things for me, but number one, I love to be challenged. I love when people challenge me to be better. I don't like being mediocre or just average. I always want people to challenge me and push me to new levels that I didn't even know that I could achieve. And I also love to challenge myself. So right now, you know, being in quarantine and being alone in the house, it's like being able to work out, and not just work out just to kind of do it, but working out really feeling like I'm trying to get stronger every single day, and I'm trying to do things that little bit better every day. So challenging constantly. And I love challenging other people too. You know, when I'm on the soccer field, I like to challenge my teammates, and I like to push them, because I want to get the best, not only of myself, but I really want to get the best out of other people. So the way that I'm putting challenge into my life right now, it's really tough in terms of the game of soccer. But the way that I'm challenging myself is I've been riding the bike a lot more lately. Talked about this a little earlier, but I've challenged myself to ride 75 kilometers every week. And that's a very new thing for me. I don't ride the bike very often at all. So it's just something that I've kind of implemented in, and trying to challenge myself in a new way, and creating these little goals and setting these things, I think, is really important for confidence building and self-esteem boosting. So we'll talk a bit about that in a bit as well. And my second one, so challenge was my first value. My second value is teammate. That's a word that, or teamwork, it really sticks out to me. I've always valued being a good teammate and having good teammates. And that means like encouraging people, pushing each other to be better all the time. And as I said, that's a really tough one, but I can still be a good teammate right now by reaching out. I've given myself the goal to reach out to a teammate every day, a different one, just to say hi, ask them how they're doing, and connect with them in a different way. So I think there's still many ways that we can keep these values in our life, even though the situation has changed. So I think it's really important to come back to these values and come back to the things that are important to you, to continue to keep them in your life. So I kind of started touching on it, having a schedule or routine and setting goals. So the main reason why we set goals is number one, for motivation to push ourselves, but setting goals is a indirect way of building confidence as well. So right now it's really tough to make long-term goals because we don't really know what the future is going to be, and it's hard to really say that, you want to do a certain thing by a certain day because you don't even know if that's possible. So making short-term goals, so daily goals and weekly goals of what we talked about earlier, is super important. And the more small goals that you make, every time you set a goal and reach it, you'll build that confidence. So you set the goal of finishing your schoolwork today. Once you do that, it builds that little bit of confidence that you said you're going to do something and you did it. Whether it's that you want to run 1 kilometer every day, you set that goal, and when you do it, you're going to build the confidence that you've done it, and you're getting fitter and stronger. So I think it's really important to think about a few short-term goals that you want to achieve, and write that down and start to think about how you want to implement that into your schedule and routine. And I think also, typically we have quite busy schedules. We wake up and we know what time we go to school by, we know what time school's over, we know what time soccer practice is, or track and field, basketball, whatever other sports you're doing. If you have dance or music lessons or anything like that, you know which days those are on. So typically we have a schedule that we go by, but right now those schedules are kind of all thrown up in the air. So I think what's really cool now is you can kind of create a schedule or not create a schedule, and you can kind of do it by choice. So I think what's important is when you say these things that you want to accomplish, so whether it's the goals or the things you want to accomplish each day or each week, we talk about the things that are important to us and what we value. I think it's really important to think about how you can implement those into your days, and make that choice to put those in your days and start to create a little bit of a schedule. And it's, I think at the same time, understanding if you go off page and you go off the schedule a little bit, that's okay too, because these times are challenging and it's not going to be perfect. But if you can continue to think about those things and try to make a little routine for yourself, I think that's really important, and it'll lead to a much more positive mental headspace for you. Lastly, something I really want to talk about is I get asked a lot about staying calm under pressure. And first and foremost, confidence leads to performance under pressure. And so when I've been talking about setting these goals and knowing what's important to you and how they make you happy, being happy leads to confidence as well. And at the same time, practice makes perfect. So the more that we can practice things, we're going to build the confidence in being able to do that in the highest of pressure situations. So a really good tool for building confidence and for being calm in high pressure situations is meditation and mindful thinking. So of course, when you're in high pressure situations, a lot of thoughts go through your mind, and you're going to have a lot of self-doubt in terms of I don't know if I can do this. I'm not sure if I'm ready to perform. This is going to be really hard. I'm not sure if I can do it. So there's all this self-doubt. But the more that we can do different exercises with meditation, mindful thinking, the more that we can start to control our thoughts and pay attention to the thoughts that we should, and kind of let go of the thoughts that we shouldn't. So if you guys have never meditated before, a really good tool is the app called Headspace. It's a really good intro to meditation. You can do just 5-minute meditations, and it's guided, so they kind of talk you through it. But if you want to give it a try, that's a really good, easy way to kind of get into it and give thought to it. So I meditate quite often, especially in times where I'm finding my motivation levels are low, or I'm a little more mentally challenged. I'll meditate a lot more during those times. Mindful thinking is just being totally present with where you are and being mindful of what you're doing. So, when you're eating and you're not texting and eating, because, when you do that, you text and eat, or you watch TV while you're eating, all of a sudden your dinner's gone and you don't really know if you tasted it. So I think it's really important that when you're doing something, be all there and really think about what you're doing and take in all of the senses for it. Visualization is a really cool tool. If you guys haven't done much visualization, I'll give you a little intro to it. So one of the highest pressure situations I've ever played in is the bronze medal game in the 2016 Olympics. We were playing against Brazil in Brazil with a bronze medal on the line. You win and you take home a bronze medal, you lose you don't take home any medal. And we were in Brazil playing against the home country, 60,000 Brazilians cheering against us. So it's a pretty high pressure situation, but for the 3 days leading into that game, I started to do some visualization. So I would sit down in my room, I would just close my eyes, and for about 5 minutes, I would just put myself in that environment and take in all of the senses. So I would picture myself like walking out of the tunnel and walking onto the field. I pictured hearing the anthem. I picture myself standing in the goal and looking out, and I could see my team in front of me. I saw the Brazilians. I saw all the fans around me. I could like hear the fans cheering against me. I could feel the adrenaline. I could feel my heart rate raising. I tried to really like take in everything that I was like feeling and sensing in that moment. And I tried to like, I would picture a Brazilian coming in on a breakaway on me, and you know, I picture her shooting and myself making the save. And the really cool thing about visualization is it's not always perfect, and you can rewind if you make a mistake. So there's times where, you know, the forward would come in on a breakaway, I'd be visualizing this, and she would shoot and she would score. And that's obviously not something you want to think about or prepare for. So that happens, I can like quickly rewind, go back, she comes in on the breakaway again, I dive, and I picture myself making the save. And then I can rewind, have her come, save. Rewind, have her come, save. And I can replay it over and over and over. And same with all different types. So I can picture the ball coming to my feet. I could picture myself hitting a nice switch to my other defender. So I think it's a really cool technique to think about and picture yourself in this high pressure situation. And then it's almost like when the day comes and you're actually in that situation, it's almost like you've been there before. And so you know what to expect and you know what feelings are there. And it's almost like you've done it before. So when that player does come on a breakaway, I'm not so nervous because I'm like, you know what, I've seen this before and I've made the save before. So you have that confidence. So visualization is a really cool tool to work on. And as with anything, practice makes perfect. So you got to keep working on it and test it out a few times. So that's kind of the moral of my little session here. I hope you guys took something out of it and got some good learnings from it. So I'll open it up now to some questions. So I'll stop my sharing here. There we go, we're back. So yeah, so if you guys have any questions, either about what I talked about or anything else, feel free to shout them out.
I like, wow, that was amazing. I really like the visualization. Myself, even doing my coach education right now, trying to achieve my licenses and continue going forward. You can actually, I've never thought of that. I've never thought of doing the visualization in that. So I think that's amazing. I think it's a great tool, and I could see it basically working with your confidence. You know what I mean? So you replay different scenarios all the time, rather than when it's time for you to compete or to be in the moment. You can actually you can anticipate it. You can see it, right? So rather than being it something new, you can have a good idea of that. So thank you for that. That was great.
Yeah, it's actually also a very good tool to use like post performance. So if you feel like, if you're a striker and you missed a breakaway in a game, or you missed a shot that you should have scored, a goalkeeper, ball goes through your hands, you go to kick the ball, completely miss it, whatever it is, if you make a mistake, visualization is a really good tool for after the game, to kind of replay it in your mind and picture yourself doing it correctly, or picture yourself not making the mistake. And then hopefully next time you'll remember you not making the mistake versus making the mistake. So it's a really good tool to kind of correct something that you've done as well.
That's awesome. Floor is open, ladies. Go out, just unmute your mics, and away you go. You can ask. We have a question from Megan.
Yes, I'll take this from Megan. What challenges did you come across in getting to where you are at today? So I've had different challenges in my career. I'm really fortunate to not have had too many major injuries, knock on wood. But the biggest challenge I would say is definitely regarding mental health. In 2012, I was going through a really rough time in terms of like enjoying soccer. I wasn't enjoying it as much. I was really focused on what coaches were thinking, what my teammates thought of me. I had been the third goalkeeper with the national team for like 5 years at that point, so I wasn't getting a lot of playing time. So it was a big struggle for me, and I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. So at the beginning of 2012, I took the decision to step away from the national team and take some time away to kind of find my love for the game again and my joy for the game, and as well as find my happiness in my personal life as well. So that was definitely a big struggle and a challenge for me. But I was in Sweden at the time, and I was playing professionally there, and I think it just came back to what I love about soccer, and enjoying being around my teammates, enjoying the confidence that I get from playing in games and pushing myself in training. And then yeah, I'd say that's kind of the biggest challenge that I had to overcome.
So on the days that you don't feel motivated, how do you push yourself to get things done? Like if you have to go to training that day and you just don't feel motivated to do it, how do you push forward to get that done?
Yeah, that's the tough one, because it happens. It actually just happened to me like 3 days ago. I woke up and didn't want to get out of bed. I just wanted to be lazy all day. Didn't feel like working out that day, even though I was supposed to. I think number one is like accepting that, you know what, this might just be a bad day, and that's okay. Like I'm human, and I'm allowed to have bad days. I'm allowed to not be motivated. I think number two, it's coming back to these things that are important to you and make you happy. And then I think number three, it's setting these small goals. Like maybe that goal is for me just to like get out of bed and go for a 15-minute walk. Maybe that's my goal for the day. And if I'm not getting my workout done, that's okay for today. I think at the same time, it's knowing, like for me, I know that soccer brings me joy, and sometimes it's a drag to get to training and it's a drag to put on my shoes. But I know that once I start running around and once I get active and once I start like hearing my teammates cheer me on, I'm going to boost my mood as well. So I think it's remembering how happy you get from these things and how much joy they bring. And you know what, at the end of the day, if it's not bringing you joy and it's not making you happy anymore, then you don't have to force it. Like I didn't start playing soccer full time until I was 17. I was still playing a bunch of other sports, and I was finding my way in terms of what I really love to do. And I never, like, I guess, got to the point where I was hating it. And I think that's a big thing, is if it still does make you happy, like get yourself out there and know that it will bring you joy once you are out there. But at the same time, do what like your heart is leading you to, and follow your passions.
Do you have any like home workouts like that you do at home? And I have another, like specifically, and I also have another question after you answer this one.
Yes, I have a lot of like body weight circuits and home workouts that I do. I kind of do a bunch of different ones. I can show you a few exercises at the end of this that are just like body weight and really easy to do. So we can do that at the end of this.
Okay.
What's your next question?
My next question is, as a goalkeeper myself, how do you save penalties? Like what's your mindset going through it? Because I'm still trying to learn how to save them properly, and I know it's hard. So I'm asking, like, how do you save it?
Yeah. Well, the number one thing is when a penalty is called, remind yourself that there's absolutely no pressure on you. I'm sorry for all the outfield players out there, but all of the pressure is on the shooter. If they miss, it's their fault. Like a goalkeeper can make an amazing save, and people will be like, yeah, what a great save, but they're also gonna, be looking at the shooter. So I think as a goalkeeper, you really have to have the mind game of there's no pressure on me. Like I am not expected to make the save. So I think that can kind of help you relax a little bit. Secondly, I would say there's kind of two ways to look at it. You can either anticipate and like guess where it's going to go, or I think have the confidence in yourself that you can react and make the save. So for me, there's a lot of things that I try to read. So I look at when the player puts the ball down, I look at where their feet are pointing, I look at their entire approach to the ball, like how are they running up to the ball. I try to look at their plant foot when they're planting to shoot, and then I look at their hips, whether the hips are open or closed. So based on all of that, I make an educated anticipation, but I try to hold my ground as long as I can and react to the save. I think it also can be different if it's like one shot in the middle of a game or if it's a 5-person shootout at the end of a game. If it's one shot in the middle of the game, you might have to do more of a guess because you really only have one chance. So you might have to just put all your eggs in one basket and think it's going one way and go 100%. But with 5 shooters, I think you can back yourself to make at least one save by standing and reacting.
Okay, thank you.
And the shooters, just place it. You don't need power. If it's placed well and it's in the corner, the goalkeeper won't save it. So just place it.
Thank you very much. That's one of the things we say all the time, right? It's just like you don't have to just kill the ball, right? Just pick a spot and place it right in where you want it, left or right side.
Exactly.
What was your experience playing on a NCAA Division I team? Like, what was like the training like and stuff like that?
Yeah, I absolutely loved college. I would go back in a heartbeat. It was a really amazing experience to go down. That was my first time like moving away from home and being in that environment. And it definitely challenged me to have to like balance schoolwork and training. And when we would have away trips on the weekends, we would miss I would miss pretty much every second Friday. So having to balance like getting my schoolwork done while being on the road and having games. That was a big challenge, and just getting used to the competition from different teams within the conferences was very different as well. So I think it was just a big learning for me in terms of finding the balance between school and soccer and starting to live the life where you make a lot of decisions for yourself and a lot of decisions that affect how you're going to develop as a soccer player.
What influenced you most on your journey to becoming a professional athlete?
I kind of had different people influencing me in different ways. Definitely I had a coach when I was 14 who was very hard on me. And I would say like it was almost 50% of the players, like you either were able to accept or like deal with how hard he was and get better from it, or a lot of players crumbled as well in terms of like mentally not being able to deal with it. So I fortunately had a really positive reaction to him being hard because, as I talked about earlier, one thing that I really value is challenge. So I like when people challenge me and push me, as much as it can be hard at times in terms of confidence, because when someone's pushing you, it feels like they're not appreciating what you're doing. But I think one thing that I learned at a young age is when someone's pushing you, it's because they know that you can give more, or they know that there's more in you. They wouldn't push you if they didn't think that you could do it. So for me, I really responded well to that, and I responded well to being pushed. So that coach, for sure, when I was younger, he pushed me out of my comfort zone and pushed me to really find new levels in my game. I looked up to my brother a lot. He was a professional hockey player, so I wanted to be just like him. He moved out when he was 16 to go pursue his dream. So I wanted to do a very similar thing as him. And then I would say later in my career, I've looked up to a lot of other athletes, I think mostly because of their stories and the things that they've done. So something that I also really believe in and I'm passionate about is doing things differently and doing things in a different way. So I don't like when people put me in a box and say, if you want to get here, this is how you do it. I think everybody's so different, and everybody can have a different route to the same end destination. So I've always wanted to do things differently. And so I looked up to people like Haley Wickenheiser. She was the captain of our women's hockey team for a very long time. She played professionally in Finland with the men's team, which is like pretty unheard of for a non-goaltender in hockey. So I looked up to her a lot, just for the things that she was doing, the paths that she was paving and trailblazing. And then I looked up to a lot of NHL players. Hockey was always a big part of my life, so I kind of leaned towards the NHL players. And I wasn't fortunate enough when I was young. There wasn't a lot of female athletes on TV and the media. Social media wasn't a thing when I was young. So I really had no access to seeing or hearing the stories from female athletes. So I think that's something that's really cool for you guys now is there's women's sports is starting to become much, much bigger. So there's so many more female role models for you guys to look up to and kind of see like where they are and be able to envision yourself in that position. So yeah.
Who has been your biggest supporter throughout your soccer career?
My biggest supporter, I mean, I want to say my parents mostly. Growing up, I grew up on an acreage, so I was living kind of in the middle of nowhere. So my parents were driving me to and from practices and games. My dad would leave work early to pick me up from school to get me to the other side of the city to get to practice. And even now, like when I'm traveling the world, it doesn't matter where I am and what time zone I am in. My mom always sends me a text on game day, like the morning of game day. She always texts me and says, happy game day. Like it doesn't matter where I am. She'll wake up at 3 a.m. to send that text. So I'd say that, yeah, my parents have always been there and they've traveled a lot to watch me play and have always been that constant support system.
What kind of advice could you give us?
Kind of advice I'm trying to think of. Well, the first piece of advice I would say is one of my favorite quotes is don't listen to criticism from somebody that you wouldn't go to for advice. So there's always going to be people who aren't going to believe in you. There's always going to be people that don't think that you can get somewhere. Being where I am now, I get criticism in the newspaper and social media from every fan. You know, if I have a bad game, I hear about it from thousands of people. So you're fortunate right now, you won't hear about it from thousands of people, but hopefully one day in your career you will. But the biggest thing is, for me, I try not to listen to all of that criticism or read about it, or I don't go digging through the newspaper or social media to look for it, because those are not people that I would trust with advice for when I, need advice for something. So I'm not going to trust their judgment for criticism. So I think that's the biggest thing. And at the same time, I think it's like have an unrelentless belief in yourself. On the same page, like there's always going to be people that won't believe in you. There's always going to be people that think that they are going to get somewhere because they have this that you don't. But just have that like unrelentless belief in yourself. Anyone else?
Given you're a goalkeeper, what are some key characteristics you would say that are part in winning a game and also like building a team during the game?
Was the question key characteristics to win a game and then to be successful during a game?
Yeah, or just build throughout the game.
Build from the game. Okay. Key characters to win a game. I think every game poses a different challenge. But I would say like one of the biggest things at being a part of a team sport is everybody being on the same page. So like if there is a game plan, everybody's sticking to it. I think it's really important because if one person goes off page, like that can kind of crumble the whole team. So it's, if there's a plan and if there's a way that you think that you're going to beat a team, it's like everybody buying in and being 100% on board with how you're going to do something. We know how important that is in team sports. And if one person thinks, well, my way is maybe a little bit better, it's not going to work if you don't have the other 10 players doing it with you. So for sure, like sticking to a game plan or being able to all have the one common goal that you're going towards. And then I would say like the mental strength is so important. Soccer games are very unpredictable and they can go up and down throughout the game. Like you could have a really good first 20 minutes and then you could have a really bad 5 minutes. And in that 5 minute, maybe in the first 20, you're doing really well. You're building a lot of momentum. And then all of a sudden, like you have a 5 minute bad period and another team scores. And all of a sudden you're losing 1-0, but you've been dominating the game for 20 minutes. Like so much can happen in soccer games. So I think it's really important that you continue to stay like mentally even. So when it's going really well and maybe you scored 2 or 3 goals in like a short period of time, don't let yourself get too high, because as soon as you get too high, you start to relax. And then that's when other teams can open you up and do different things. So at the same time, if a team, you know, starts coming down your throat and they're getting a lot of chances, a lot of corner kicks, whatever it is, like try not to get too low on yourself and get anxious and start yelling at each other. I think it's really important to kind of stay even throughout the game and minimize the times that you go down, like try to come back up as quick as you can. And when it's high, I think like continue to remain confident, but stick to like the things that are working to make you get on that. So I'd say like the mental consistency throughout a game is really important.
So you talked about how you kind of looked at NHL players. My family's really been big into hockey too. And I was just wondering, like, what you would take what you take from them and like implement into yourself, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So growing up, I liked Kelly Buchberger and Patrick Waugh, but nowadays I'll relate it to people that you guys might know. So I really like Connor McDavid for two reasons. He's doing things very differently, and he is like, when he plays, he brings this spark, and he has this kind of, it's like, you know, when he's on the ice. So there's a type of presence that he brings. And so that's something that I really want to embody when I'm on the field. Like, even though I'm not always in the action or around the ball, I want somebody who's in the stands to like say, whoa, Steph Labbé's presence. Like, we can just feel her presence on the field. So that's something that I think is really special and unique that I take from him. And then with goalkeepers or goaltenders in hockey, it's really hard unless you're there live, but like hearing the voices, I think is really, and like the leadership of what a goalie can bring, I think is really cool. Seeing in hockey, like how they can demand things from their defenders and how they can kind of change the tempo. Like when they get the puck, they can dictate, do I want to cover it up for a face-off, or do I want to like hold it for a bit and then let it go so that we can keep playing? The way that they can dictate tempo and the speed of the game, I think is really amazing. So I try to take that from the goaltenders that I watch as well.
So what do you think that your biggest accomplishment as a player is? Like, it could be like an accomplishment that you made as a team or just by yourself, and like what did you do to achieve it?
I would say my biggest accomplishment individually as a player definitely is like getting myself from being the third keeper with the full national team for like 4 + 5 years to like having that unrelentless belief in myself that I can be the starter, and to go from in 2012 taking a year away from the national team because I didn't believe, you know, that I was ever going to get any playing time. I didn't think the coaches believed in me. I didn't think that I really belonged with the team. So I took that year off, and like 3.5 years later, I was the starting goalkeeper at the Olympics in 2016. And that fully came from like my unrelentless belief that I could do it, and that I was going to like work my butt off, and I was going to get there and achieve that. And I think it all came down to me. Like, it didn't have to do with anyone else telling me that I was good, anyone else helping me. Like I went out and I got it done. So that was, I guess, the biggest thing. And I think as a team, I've had a lot of really cool moments with different teams. Last year was really special with my professional team. It was my first time winning a professional championship. We won the league and the national championship with my North Carolina team. And I think that was a really big accomplishment for us. It was the team's like third year in a row winning the league title. And I think just establishing that like dominance and consistency was a really special thing to be a part of. And to be a part of a group that was like pushing each other constantly every single day was a really cool part to be a part of. If we don't have any more questions, I can give you guys 1 or 2 or a couple quick exercises that you guys can do at home if you would like.
I have one more.
Okay, yeah.
As a defender, so me being a defender, what is some advice you can give me to help support my goalkeeper better throughout the game?
To support your goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Okay, let me think about that. What do I want from my defenders? I would say the biggest thing is, I think, encourage your goalkeeper to talk a lot, because they can see a lot more than you can. So encourage them to talk, and when they do talk, like, something that we always have is, like, you're not always going to be able, like, as a defender, if your goalkeeper's telling you there's a man on your right, or like shift to your left, whatever it is, like, you're not always going to be able to look back at your goalkeeper and say, like, okay, I got that, like, I heard that. It's like giving a little thumbs up or giving a little wave, showing like, yep, I heard you. I think that encourages your goalkeeper to keep speaking, because a lot of the time as a goalkeeper, we feel like we yell and we don't always know if people are hearing it or receiving the information. So I think like giving that quick thumbs up, the same way, you know, any player does, if, you know, you try to pass to someone and it just doesn't quite come off, and they give you the thumbs up for like, hey, it was a good idea. It may not have come off, but like, good idea. Make that pass again next time. Same thing, like encourage the communication. And then I would say like protect them. If goalkeepers, I think we get into some pretty gnarly situations sometimes where we're getting hit. We go head first into dives where, you know, someone else is sliding in to try to kick it. So protect your goalkeeper and do what you can to physically protect them. Helps them feel like you got their back. Any other questions? Okay, all right, guys, let's do a quick little, I'll give you a couple exercises you can do at home. This is really good for players and goalkeepers. Okay, you guys got a little bit of room where you are? Hopefully you have a little bit of space. You won't have to move around too much. Okay. So if you guys can all get up, the first thing we're gonna have you do is, it's kind of like a split squat. So you're gonna be with your legs like this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down, and then we're gonna jump up as high as we can. And when you land, you wanna land super stiff. So we're gonna jump up and then land. So we don't wanna try to land and like bounce around. So let's jump up as high as you can, and then land super strong and stable. So you want to do around 5 per leg, and the key is to jump as high as you can. Like, it's not just jumping, it's jumping as high as you can, and try not to switch your legs. So if you jump with your right foot in front, land with your right foot in front. Switching legs you can do it, it's just a different exercise. But if you do this one where you stay, you'll find there's way more strength. And then once you start jumping really high, some of you are jumping, I can see, and you're able to do the jump and switch. So now, try to do a double switch in the air. So if you jump, if your left leg is in front, you want to switch right and then come back to left again. So you jump and come back. So you're still landing with the same foot in front, but it's like a quick little scissor. Yeah, nice. That one, you really got to make sure you're jumping high. Nice. Nice, you guys. Okay, so that's a really good one for leg power. So that'll be working on your jumping as a goalkeeper, for jumping and catching crosses, tipping over the bar. For players, it's really good for, obviously, like jumping for headers, being super strong, and if you get knocked over, being able to land super stable. So another one is, if you balance on one leg, your other leg, if you can have something where it slides on the ground, but you can just keep it super light, but you just do a slide, so you squat down, and then come back up. Squat down, and then come back up. And then you can switch legs. So try that. So that one, same thing, you want to do about 5. So think about sitting back into a chair, not forward. Nice. Okay, and then we'll do one that's really good for upper body. So this is good for keepers, obviously for upper body strength, for diving, making saves, but it's really good for players for when you guys go into duels and you're shoulder to shoulder with people. You want to be able to hold a defender off or hold a striker off, whatever it is. So you can go to a plank position like this. The key is you don't want your hips to be moving, so keep your hips still. And we'll go down to our elbows and then come back to our hands. Try to keep your hips still the whole time. So you want to go up and down If you lead with your right hand 10 times, then lead with your left hand 10 times. Good job. Keep your hips nice and still. Good job, you guys. Then we'll add on one more if you guys want to do some core while you're down there. So you can start again in the plank position. So I'll turn this way a bit. So you take one leg and you go knee to your elbow, then bring it down to your wrist, back up to your elbow, and then back. So elbow, wrist, elbow, back. Then you can switch legs. So really try to bring it as far forward as you can. Bring it down, back up. Yeah, so it's a good core one. Try not to let the leg touch the ground the whole time. Nice, you guys. Nice. Those are awesome. So those are just a few of the things that you guys can do for lower body, upper body, a little bit of core. Yeah, do a little circuit of that, go through that like 6 times and you'll be good to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And as a goalkeeper, it's really good for players too for like hand-eye coordination and keeping your brain mentally sharp. If you go to my Instagram, I have a whole video up of me doing a bunch of exercises with just like tennis balls to work on hand-eye coordination, visual, like keeping your brain sharp, reaction training, a bunch of things you can do at home with just 2 tennis balls. So check that out.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, for taking the time to come out for our girls, for our U16 girls at Athletes Institute. I really appreciate it. Very informative. I took a lot from this. Thank you, and I wish you could come back again. Maybe we could do this in the future. I think this is a fantastic opportunity going through this negative time to interact with professional players like yourself, and having them to talk to each other. You know, you could talk to the team and so forth. So many times where they do come to, like, say they do come to the national game, they won't get that opportunity. So in the negative aspect of going through COVID, the positive is having this opportunity. So again, thank you very much. And we wish you all the best for sure.
Awesome.
So,
thank you. So nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
All right. No problem. Take care. Have a good day. Thanks.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.